Kaurna people, the traditional owners of the land around us. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present. Stirling Gardens can be seen to our left as we leave the church. Adjoining Stirling Gardens are the Supreme Court Gardens, which contain both the Supreme Court and the Courthouse. The oldest in the summer months. More than 300 years ago, vessels commanded by de Vlaminck came 16 kilometres into the Swan River. Upon sighting the black swans, they decided to call it the Black Swan River. The river is 240 kilometres long. It starts east in the town of Northam and finally enters the Indian Ocean at Fremantle. It is a saltwater tidal river with an average depth of 5 metres. Here in front of the city, the water is saline and is classified as ocean. The large grassed area around here is Langley Park. Major, later Sir Norman Greeley used this park as an airstrip to set up Western Australian Airways Limited, Australia's first airline, in 1921. He handpicked the pilots he wanted, which included a young Charles Kingsford Smith, later to become the first airliner to fly across the Pacific Ocean. St Mary's Cathedral can be seen, positioned magnificently on the highest point in central Perth. The elegant building on our right as we turn onto Hay Street is Cathedral House. It is now one of the oldest surviving episcopal residences in Australia. The small Georgian-style portico on your right is St George's Hall, and all that remains of Perth's first purpose-built theatre, which was opened in 1879. The buildings behind are the law courts. The building on the left is the Perth Library. This development is known as Cathedral Square and includes the iconic St George's Cathedral, bars, restaurants and a luxury hotel in the old Treasury building. The precinct inhabits Perth's geographical centre, known as Point Zero, from where all road distances in WA are measured. A small shopping arcade made to look and feel like a street in Shooter, England. We are now in Barrack Street, named after the barracks that once stood here. It is one of Perth's original streets that were once lined with Jarrah hardwood blocks. Early in the last century, it provided a bustling environment where citizens purchased their fresh food, sold from fish vendors, butchers and vegetable merchants. We are now coming into Northbridge and arriving at stop 3, adjacent to the Cultural Centre. This is the stop for the Art Gallery of Western Australia and the WA Museum, known as Bullabardip, which means many stories in Wajak Noongar, the country in which the museum sits. The precinct houses the Urban Orchard, where you'll often find street food, drinks, great live music and various open-air events during the summer months. If you wish to visit the Cultural Centre or Northbridge, please alight here. This is stop 3. As we head north along Beaufort Street, it gives us time to give you a little more information about Northbridge. The Northbridge area in the early settlement days was an area of lakes and swamps infested by mosquitoes, but a source of fresh water as opposed to the Swan River side that is saline. Northbridge was very much the wrong side of the tracks. During the first decades of the 20th century, Northbridge became the home of 3 immigrant nationalities, where they conducted their business and social lives. These were the Chinese, the Greeks, and the Italians. The Chinese were first to arrive in the 1880s and 90s and set up market gardens in the swampy land that existed here at that time. They also set up furniture factories, laundries, restaurants, and shops. The Greeks arrived next, drawn by the goldfields of Kalgoorlie. They sponsored their wives and families who set up home in Northbridge building schools and churches. As they became more affluent, they moved to other locations around the city and suburbs. The Italians followed and purchased homes and businesses vacated by the Greek population, and part of Northbridge became known as Little Italy. The Italians also ran illegal gambling houses that were tolerated by the police until the Burswood Casino was opened. Northbridge today is still very multicultural and provides the venue for the restaurant and nightclub scene in Perth. We are now heading over to Crown Perth. Travelling along Newcastle Street below us is the Northbridge Tunnel. It is 1.6 kilometres long with 3 lanes of freeway traffic each way. The entrance can be seen up ahead as we cross the traffic lights. As we join the freeway, look down into the cutting to our right, and you will see the work of Indigenous artist Ron Corbett, who has designed a composition of serpents and other symbols to adorn the retaining wall on the entrance to the tunnel. We are joining the Polly Farmer Freeway, named after one of Western Australia's Indigenous legends, Graham Polly Farmer. It's one of the first living flags of Australia. Teams, West Coast Office, Native Doctors, and experience to hold us for Hansen and the other name implies, the Indian Pacific connects two oceans on one of the world's longest train journeys. The journey is across the Nullarbor Plain, and the train travels the world's longest straight stretch of railway track, 578 kilometres. Or the Camfield pub that all overlook the Swan River. On major event days, the Camfield has been known to have up to 10,000 people through its doors, with 20,000 pints poured and 1,000 pizzas sold. The back of house tours start from here. You'll be treated to breathtaking views of the playing surface, the Swan River and Perth City skyline from the stadium's highest vantage point, and also experience the inner sanctum, including the players' change rooms. Ask your driver for tickets and alight here for one of these tours. This is stop 4. like to say we enjoy our space in Perth. We have a Mediterranean climate with summer temperatures in Perth sometimes exceeding 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. In the summer months, a cooling sea breeze, colloquially known as the Fremantle Doctor, blows in the afternoons. Now this is complicated, so concentrate. We'll be asking questions later. Burswood is derived from two words, Burs and Wood, the name given to his property by the original landholder of the area, Henry Camfield. He named his property Burswood with two R's after his father's farm in England. The area became known as Burswood, or one word, two R's, Ireland in 1841 when a canal was cut through the peninsula so as to shorten the trip to by the men who painted the sign for the first railway station in the area. Perth City is located in the ancient country of the Whadjuk Noongar people, or learned as the Noongar nation of Perth. They have been the traditional owners of the southwest of Western Australia There is a sacred place for the Noongar people. These are local stories of the Wobble, a water serpent understood to be responsible for the raintails. They call the river Down. This part of the river continues Among the resort's many low-class luxuries is the exciting 24-hour casino, numerous restaurants and bars, 3 hotels, a convention centre, and a theatre. Please feel free to hop off here and explore the complex. Patrons are advised that there are dress codes for the resort and age restrictions for the bars and gaming rooms. So, if you think this may be your lucky day, the casino is waiting for you. If you are leaving us here, please take all your personal belongings with you and keep your tickets safe, as you will need it later for reboarding the tour. This is stop 5. Welcome to anyone joining us here, and can I ask you to remain seated as we pull away from Crown Perth. If you have won the jackpot at the casino, don't be shy, tell the driver, and we will all help you celebrate. suspect of pushing a miner's wheelbarrow here in Burswood Park. It's a Paddy Hannon who won fame for his discovery of what became Western Australia's Golden Mile, the richest square mile on Earth, in Kalgoorlie, almost 600 kilometres to the east of Perth. This statue pays homage to him and the thousands of forgotten men who came in search of their fortunes during the gold rush, with their courage laying the foundations for the state's prosperity.
Está considerada como la recta de carretera más larga de Australia y es también una de las más largas del mundo.
Crossing the Swan River via the Causeway Bridge. The original bridge was used as a toll bridge, a penny for animals and sixpence for a cart. Traditionally, a bugle was sounded from the bridge to signal the residents of Perth that the mail had arrived from the south coast island of Adelaide. Harrison Island is the smaller lake here in the middle of the Swan River. It was named after midshipman Francois Harrison, who rowed a longboat up the Swan River to where modern Perth is. Here we can view a statue of Yagan, a well-known local indigenous leader of the recognised strong leadership and resistance fighting during the early years of the Swan River colony. The island is also home to a family of western grey kangaroos. Visitors to Australia don't realise exactly how big our state is. The state of Western Australia, colloquially known as WA, is roughly the same size as all of Western Europe. It boasts over 12,500 kilometres of coastline. If WA were to be a country in its own right, it would be in the world's top 10 for size. The vast majority of the population live here in the southwest corner. Around 80% of the population live in the Perth area, leaving the remainder of the state sparsely populated. And on our right, we have the West Australian Cricket Association Oval, colloquially known as the WACA, and home of the West Australian Cricket Team. The ground has a long and proud history as Western Australia's home of cricket, and an iconic domestic and international cricket venue, which has provided a stage for many historical sporting moments. Are now on our right-hand side. After previously being used as a small arena and course, this building was officially opened and named Queen's Gardens in 1899. The Peter Pan statue is a replica of the famous statue of Peter Pan in London's Kensington Gardens. It's a beautiful park and very popular for wedding photography. This is stop 6. Arriving at the Perth Mint, bus and bullion ticket holders alight here. It is Australia's oldest operating mint, established in 1899 to mint gold sovereigns for the British Empire. It now offers a unique combination of exhibits and tours. The gold exhibition gives visitors the rare opportunity to experience the journey of gold discovery. Marvel at the largest coin ever made, watch a traditional gold pour, handle more than $500,000 worth of gold bullion, and find out how much you are worth in gold. Many early prospectors spent years working in backbreaking conditions in outback Australia in search of gold, and you can now view Australia's most dazzling display of natural gold nuggets. It is here, ahead of us, behind the railings, across the road on our right as we stop. This is stop 7. Welcome to passengers joining us here at the Perth Mint, and please be seated as we pull away from the stop. Our next section of the tour takes us along Adelaide and St George's Terrace and up to Kings Park. Can we remind you, if you need to speak to the person next to you, to do so in a whisper quiet voice, as everyone wants to listen to the commentary. As we approach the crossroads where Adelaide Terrace turns into St George's Terrace, you will notice that the road does not continue in a straight line. This bend was created when John Septimus Roe, the first Surveyor General in WA, refused to allow the new road to pass over his wife's rose garden. You can see his statue over to our right as we enter the intersection. The low building on our left is the Perth Concert Hall, renowned for having the best acoustics in Australia. It is the home of the West Australian Symphony Orchestra and hosts a number of diverse performances and events all year round. Through the trees to our left, you can see Government House. It's one of Perth's original buildings and was constructed by convicts. It's the official residence of the Governor of Western Australia and is set in magnificent English-style gardens. Starting on our left is Council House, the civic offices of Perth City Council. On the pavement outside, we can see a mob of bronze kangaroos. These unique sculptures, representing Australia's most beloved animal, delight tourists and locals alike. On our right, you can see London Court, with a rather out-of-place Tudor facade. It is designed using the architectural features present in Elizabethan times, making it superbly different to the skyscrapers it is nestled under. The arcade currently houses small specialty retail shops and cafes. Ferried up the Swan River by convict labour. Just behind it is Brookfield Place, with what is known as the Tiara on the top. Cloisters, built in 1858. It is one of a small number of remaining convict-built colonial buildings. The style of the cloisters was derived from St James Palace, Hampton Court, Eton College, and other well-known Tudor-style English buildings. Directly in front of us at the end of the street is Barracks Arch. The arch is all that remains of the pensioners' barracks, a structure that originally comprised 120 rooms. The barracks were built for the enrolled pensioner guards, who guarded the convicts from 1850 onwards. The two wings were demolished in 1966 to make way for the Mitchell Freeway, and only strong public protests held back the wrecking ball from destroying this part of Perth's history. St George's Terrace now changes to Malcolm Street. Up and to the right we can view Parliament House, the seat of the West Australian Government. Perth is the capital of Western Australia. With the Indian Ocean on one side and the Australian outback on the other, the closest Australian city is over 2,000 kilometres away. In fact, Perth is closer to Singapore than our national capital, Canberra. Hence, we do need our own parliament. Now, make sure you have your cameras ready for some of the most spectacular views that are available of the city. We are now turning into Fraser Avenue in Kings Park. Kings Park was first reserved as a park in 1872. Today, the park is the pride of Perth, offering free guided walking tours, panoramic views, the State War Memorial, local and Indigenous art, outdoor concerts and movies, and a variety of children's play areas. This wonderful park is 404 hectares in size and is a place for all Western Australians and visitors to enjoy parkland, natural bushland, and some magnificent scenery. The trees that line Fraser Avenue are lemon-scented gums. These are often lit up in the evening for special occasions and can be seen from the city. Please be careful as we make our way around the park. There are a few overhanging branches, so please make sure that you watch out for them, especially those of you sat upstairs on the left-hand side. Be careful, it can get very messy. We are now approaching our first stop in Kings Park. This is bus stop 9. Passengers can get off here and enjoy the park, or can stay on board and tour the park with us. If you wish to walk through the botanical gardens, it's a good idea to stay on board the bus and get off at the next stop at Rowe Gardens. You can then walk through the botanic gardens back to the main centre here at Fraser Avenue to catch the next bus. Also stay on board if you who wish to visit the Blue Boathouse on Mounts Bay Road. This is a fabulous opportunity to visit one of Perth's most photographed buildings. The hashtag Blue Boathouse has tens of thousands of Instagram posts to its name and is only a short 3-minute walk from the bus stop 11.
Oh, it doesn't really matter. I have to go somewhere or whatever. What about you?
The southwest of our state is Australia's only biodiversity flora hotspot and is of international interest. It has about 1/3 of Australia's 25,000 plant species, and most of those are found nowhere else on Earth. The Botanic Garden here in Kings Park is a showcase of flora from around this vast state. The garden beds display some of the most diverse and spectacular plant groups. Down through the car park on your left can be seen a giant boab tree. The tree arrived in Kings Park after a 3,200 kilometres journey from the Kimberley region of WA. It is estimated to be 760 years old and had to be relocated due to road widening on the Great Northern Highway. These bottle-shaped trees can live for up to 2,000 years and are highly valued by Indigenous people for their edible fruits, medicinal uses and water-holding properties. This area is the Botanic Gardens and the Federation Walkway. Part of this amazing structure includes a glass and steel arched bridge that takes you high above the trees for a fantastic bird's eye view of Perth. The bridge appears suspended amidst the canopy of tall eucalypts, including karri, marri and jarrah trees. on our left, we see the Pioneer Women's Memorial Fountain. This fountain honours the pioneer women of Western Australia. The figure symbolises their courage, strength and tenderness. This area often transforms during the summer events season in Kings Park to become a magical setting for live concerts. This is stop 10, Row Garden. A light here if you wish to walk through the botanical gardens. Down through the trees you can see a beautiful view of the city, the Swan River and South Perth. Noongar is the name for the Indigenous people of Western Australia's southwest. Kings Park has been a very special place for Noongar people for thousands of years. Can you imagine them gathered on this hill overlooking the water, watching curiously as boats of early European explorers arrived on their shores? In the surrounding bush here, you can see grass trees. These spiky trees with large black trunks are called dalga by the Noongar people. They are very slow growing, about 1 to 2 centimetres a year, but they are also very long-lived. Some of the larger ones are estimated to be up to 600 years old. Ahead of us through the trees, you can see Royal Perth Yacht Club. For those of you who can remember, it was here that local businessman Alan Bond plotted the 1983 winning of the America's Cup sailing competition, ending a 132-year winning streak by the USA. He became a national hero, and Australia went wild with national fervour and patriotism like never before. The Prime Minister at the time captured the mood of the moment by stating that any employer that sacks a worker for not coming into work today is a bum. The winning yacht, Australia 2, is housed in the WA Maritime Museum in Fremantle. This is the stop for the Blue Boathouse on the Swan River. This now iconic Perth building, pictured standing in the calm water of the river, achieved its status, mainly in Asia, by the viral power of social media, and a selfie here is a must-do for many visitors. You will also find the bronze Eliza sculpture. She is often dressed up in clothing to represent special occasions. Please be aware that you will have to walk down a small path and a few steps to get to Mounts Bay Road. This is a busy road. Please take care and hold on to your children. This path may not be suitable for anyone with accessibility issues. This is stop 11. As we continue on our journey around the park, we have time to tell you about some of the larger plants found here. All around the park you can see large, spiky, palm-like macrosamias, one of only 2 palms that grow naturally in WA. They have a fruit that looks like a giant pineapple. Break it open and it has red berries about the size of golf balls. They are deadly poisonous, and the records show they were the first poisonous plant found by the settlers. In the age of the dinosaurs, ancestors of the cycads were the most prevalent plants on Earth. Its tough, sharp and leathery pointed fronds protected the plants from grazing dinosaurs. Quintus, one of the suburbs down to our left on the Swan River, was the base for the Catalina flying boats. They were the very last type of flying boat type operated by Qantas. Most importantly, through its Catalina flying boat operations during the war, Qantas created, and still holds, a world air service duration record that has never been broken, and probably never will. A distance of 8,780 kilometres had to be flown from Perth to Sri Lanka for a highly secret air service. It was a 27-hour non-stop flight known as the Double Sunrise Flight. The Catalinas flew in complete radio silence, lest their radio signals allowed Japanese fighter aircraft to home in on them. They had virtually no navigation aids and were so heavily overloaded with fuel that if they suffered an engine failure in the first 17 hours of flight, they would either crash or would be forced down onto a Japanese-dominated ocean. You can see a Catalina flying boat at the Air Museum in Bull Creek here in Perth. This is May Drive Parkland. It is a recreation area for the entire family. The parkland features an elevated walkway known as the Windy Walk, a two-tiered island fort, large-scale replicas of local dinosaurs, and a timber boardwalk across the lake to Lycopod. Children can run headlong into the millennia-old past, follow the footprints of giant dinosaurs, and discover ancient fossils. Manicured lawns and free barbecues make it an ideal picnic venue, and the outdoor cinema provides a popular attraction during summer. Food and drinks are available here at Zamia Cafe. This is Stop 12, May Drive Parklands.
Is it there?
Yes.
Yeah.
He looks as good as mine.
Yeah, well they
One word.
that's stuck on me like that too.
Precinct is on our left. It has endured many changes over the last century. The Saw Avenue Road alignment once formed part of the original 1870s bridle trail that led from Subiaco to the Crawley Baths, a public watering hole where generations of Western Australians learned to swim. This is now a much-loved family area that offers informal picnic and barbecue areas. In fact, there are literally hundreds of parks around Perth and along the beaches that have free-to-use barbecues. So why not try some out and enjoy a typical Australian experience? We are now travelling along May Drive, named after Princess May, who visited the park in 1901 and later became Queen Mary. It was the first of many honour avenues in the park. Each tree has a plaque with name, rank and age of service personnel who died overseas. Volunteers maintain these plaques, and once a year a local high school puts a fresh flower on every plaque in remembrance. Originally, the honour avenues were planted with oak trees. Arthur Loveton, an original member of the Kings Park Board, visited England and was struck by the grandeur of the Royal Oaks in Windsor Great Park. With Kings Park in mind, he took the liberty of writing to Queen Mary, requesting acorns from the Great Park to planting Kings Park. She agreed and sent a parcel of acorns from the Royal Oaks. They were planted, and although most of them sprouted, many failed to thrive and eventually died. One remains and now stands by the roundabout on Fraser Avenue. When the oak trees failed to prosper, they were replanted with bengalate in the 1940s. There are over 70 species of birds that live in or visit the park during the year, and several native animals including brush-tailed possums, bobtail lizards, geckos, snakes, spiders and scarp snails. There are also 470 native plant species in bushland, of which 300 are native to Kings Park. The Rio Tinto Naturescape is along here on our left. It is a place for children to connect with nature and learn to appreciate the unique Western Australian environment. It is a place to explore, climb rocks and ropes, wade through creeks, build cubbies and get dirty. It has been designed to retain as much of its natural bush setting as possible. Great care has been taken to provide children with a real bush experience in the middle of our city. Kings Park and Botanic Garden has more memorials, statues and honour avenues than any other park in Australia. This includes the Cenotaph, an 18-metre granite obelisk that commemorates all Western Australians who gave their lives in the service of their country. The Court of Contemplation walls feature the names of major battlefields, and the flame of remembrance within the pool of reflection burns continuously. It symbolises the promise of all Western Australians that we will remember them. The State War Memorial is overlooking the city at the end of Fraser Avenue. Australia-Oceania is the smallest continent in the world, and although some consider Australia as the largest island, Australia is commonly referred to as a country and a continent. Greenland is the biggest island in the world. Australia is the driest inhabited continent of the world. It is the largest country in the Southern Hemisphere and the largest country without land borders. Just down the slope to our right is the Bali Memorial. This commemorates the 16 West Australians killed in the Bali bombing of 12th October 2002. It is made of Kimberley sandstone and weather-resistant steel, with an 8-ton granite boulder engraved with the 16 names. Every year at sunrise on October the 12th, a ray of light illuminates the names on the boulder. The grove of 16 grass trees was planted in memory of each Western Australian who died. In all, 88 Australian citizens lost their lives in the tragedy. The ornamental clock tower ahead of us at the end of Fraser Avenue is dedicated to Edith Cowan, who spent her life promoting the welfare of women, especially in relation to the law. At 60, she became Australia's first ever female politician. Driving along, it gives us time to tell you about some of our more famous past and present Perth residents. They include author Tim Winton, our favourite Formula One racing driver Daniel Ricciardo, Min Ji Lee and her brother Min Woo Lee, who are both world-ranking professional golfers. Musician Troye Sivan arrived in Perth from South Africa at the age of 2 and got his first big break on television in Perth at age 11. International soccer superstar Sam Kerr, who is widely considered as one of the best forwards of all time in women's football. Hugh Jackman, actor and entertainer, and Tim Minchin, the multi-talented musician, composer and actor, are two of the many famous graduates from WAPA, the Western Australian Academy of the Performing Arts, that is recognised internationally for the quality of its graduates. One of the most famous actors to come from Perth is the late Heath Ledger, who tragically died in 2008. A theatre within the State Theatre Centre in Northbridge is named in his honour. Perth is the world's most isolated continental capital city, with the vast Indian Ocean to the west and the Nullarbor Desert stretching far into the east. Perth became known worldwide as the City of Light when city residents switched on their house lights and street lights as American astronaut John Glenn passed overhead while orbiting the Earth in 1962. Back in 1962, we were effectively the only thing that glowed at night on this part of the planet. The phrase has since been adopted by Perth Council, and modern Perth is often referred to as the City of Lights. Find your cash and credit cards as we prepare to stop at Watertown for a spot of retail therapy. With all the best brands at all the best prices, it is Perth's home to outlet shopping. Now you know that you can get on with finding some bargains, but you must remember to take your belongings with you and don't lose your ticket, as you will need it to rejoin the tour later. This is stop 13, Watertown.
Yeah. 2 or 3 years. Yeah. I think more.
Welcome back to any bargain hunters joining us here. Please remember to remain seated while the vehicle is moving.
Waterfront. It says waterfront. What number?
13.
13.
No, the one we just left was.
Waterfront. I think it was 13, yeah. Yeah, 13.
The angular-shaped building on the left-hand side is the Perth Arena, a multi-purpose indoor entertainment and sports stadium with a retractable roof. It was designed to stand out from the crowd. The arena's design was based on the Eternity Puzzle, defined by 9 unique facades, which give the building a different face from every angle. Its complex design proved a challenge for the engineers and the budget. It is home to the West Coast Fever, the state's netball team, and the Perth Wildcats basketball team. Perth's main railway station. Until a few years ago, the railway ran above ground. To reconnect Northbridge and the city centre, the railway was rerouted underground and the offices, apartments and a university campus built. Below the road is the Northern Busport. Here's a fun fact. Most people don't realise that Western Australia has the largest number of purebred camels in the world. Camels are not native to Australia. In the 1840s, early settlers used camels to help them explore the vast and arid areas of the Australian outback. Since they have no natural predators, their populations have thrived ever since. They are considered pests that damage the soil, vegetation and water sources. We have so many that the state exports them to the Middle East. However, we do not see them often in the CBD. For the fashion savvy amongst us, there is no better shopping than the area around our next bus stop and King Street. This part of the city has become a mecca for luxury brand shopping in Perth. So if the likes of Chanel, Tiffany & Co and Louis Vuitton are your type of shops, please alight at our next stop. Now arriving at stop 14, the closest stop to Yagan Square and Northbridge. This is a good place to get off if you like shopping, as we are close to all the city's shopping malls. It is also the nearest stop to the Perth railway station, which is just ahead of us, on the opposite side of the road, across the traffic lights inside the main shopping precinct.
Are we going? Where do you want to go? Or maybe we'll just go from William Street and go to the next one. Just at the end of the just walk back. Let's get off the road.
To any passengers joining us here. This is William Street, named in honour of the British monarch King William IV. On the right, we pass the Wesley Uniting Church, built by convict labour in 1867. To encourage public donations for the new church, a pew incentive was developed, by which the best seats in the church were allocated to those who donated the most money. Stop 15, William Street. The city shopping malls are just behind us to the left. On the opposite side of the road, you will find the Tourism Information Office. Barrack Street Jetty and Elizabeth Quay. From here, you can take a ferry to South Perth and visit the zoo, or take a boat trip to Fremantle, the Swan Valley, or Rottnest Island. Elizabeth Quay is a great place to visit and walk around the inlet with various restaurants, bars, artworks, a carousel, variety of boat charters, and a children's water playground to enjoy. Overlooking the jetty is the bell tower, one of the largest musical instruments on Earth. The swan bells include the 12 bells of London's St. Martin in the Fields. The same bells rang to celebrate the destruction of the Spanish Armada in 1588 and the homecoming of James Cook in 1771. They are one of only a few sets of royal bells and are the only ones known to have left England. Children sing at the bells in the popular Oranges and Lemons nursery rhyme, for only 5 farthings say the bells of St. Martin's. Tours of the bell tower are available with a chance to ring the bells yourself. This is stop 1, Barrack Street Jetty and Elizabeth Quay. We will have a short stop here and then the bus will leave promptly at 15 minutes past the hour. Please make sure you are back on board in plenty of time. Remember, bottles of cold water are for sale from the driver. This is a good time to apply some more of the free sunscreen available downstairs. Ask your driver if you need any assistance. The bus will head over to Northbridge, Perth Stadium and Crown Perth. So, if you haven't been with us to the casino yet, we'll be going there soon. If you are leaving us here, I hope you have enjoyed your time with us today and thank you for choosing Perth Explorer.